Day after tomorrow, gentlemen, we'll be in Las Vegas.
We're just supposed to walk out of there with $150 million in cash on us without getting stopped?
Yeah.
Happy New Year.
There's a strong argument that the key shot of 1960's Ocean's 11 is its almost final frame. The members of Danny Ocean, Frank Sinatra's band of ex-army brothers, walk out of shot having, spoiler alert, lost their winnings from robbing 5 Las Vegas casinos. Behind Last Man Sammy Davis Jr. is the Sands Casino billboard, announcing the 5 names of what went down in celebrity folklore as the Rat Pack: Sinatra, Davis Jr., Dean Martin, Peter Lawford, and Joey Bishop. Off-screen, it's easy to flip this view and see the movie itself as backdrop to the summit, the less catchy moniker Sinatra preferred to Rat Pack, and their much-hyped Vegas cabaret.
I love Vegas. We're doing 6 shows a night here. We're hungry. How many? Well, 2 here, 4 in the room. That's 6, Daddy. I don't care what you got.
How lucky can one guy be?
As Sean Levy's book Rat Pack Confidential sums it up, Ocean's 11 was never really a movie. It was a publicity event, and the studio was sharp enough to see it that way. In 1960, Sinatra, Martin and co. were America's preeminent entertainers on film, stage and record.
By turning money into power.
Las Vegas was the country's burgeoning playground for the elite and wannabe high rollers alike. Ocean's 11 isn't really selling us on a group of middle-aged underdogs. It's cashing in on a vision of top dogs at play. The glamour, the cool, the Vegas fantasy in full effect. It's meant to embody an attitude, enhance and help bankroll a way of life. The film's notoriously casual shoot was a litany of the star's minimal attendance and limited on-camera takes. Sinatra as producer and star clearly calling the shots. So what if the movie itself is far from the strongest element of the Rat Pack brand?
It's never been done before.
When Steven Soderbergh and his all-star cast remade Ocean's 11 in 2001, their PR junkets scarcely contained disdain for the original. When asked if he was a Rat Pack fan, Soderbergh evasively answered, "We're all aware of them, obviously, but it's impossible to duplicate what they had."
Each of which requires a
His
different
stars were
6-digit
less
code
diplomatic.
changed every 12 hours. Past those, where's the elevator? This is where it gets tricky.
To keep its cast, let alone viewers, awake then, screenwriter Ted Griffin and Soderbergh kept only the basic premise of a large team robbing Vegas casinos. Lead roles were similarly filled with some of the biggest, most charismatic stars around. But whereas the rest of Sinatra's squad were solid journeymen, Clooney's crew consists of much more varied, distinctive character actors, several past and future big names themselves, given far more to do.
Very satisfied.
The heists themselves are night and day apart. In 1960, simply cutting the power and holding up the staff at gunpoint is enough to make a quick getaway. It's basically a
Smash and grab job, huh?
Slightly more complicated than that.
By the 21st century, however,
Yeah.
you need top-end surveillance, explosives, disguises,
Someone call for a doctor?
decoys, world-class gymnasts, and government-level tech to pull off the job. Fittingly, plot twists and counter-twists stack up and play out to expert-timed precision. The audience is part accomplice, part patsy. Sinatra and Co.'s job, while much simpler, goes off the rails, and so does the film itself. The gang disappear for great swathes of the final act, and a minor adversary turns into a major player.
You have a hand in this?
Whereas Soderbergh's vision personifies the gang's antagonist, Andy Garcia's ruthless casino owner, and neatly ties him into Danny Ocean's personal vendetta storyline.
Good to see you, Tess.
Take care, Danny.
Terry.
Danny.
Given 1960 director Lewis Milestone's tough talent-wrangling job, the actual filmmaking here is at best functional. The approach seems to be, get as many Rat Packers on screen and let them do their thing.
What's so funny?
Soderbergh, by contrast, is on record stating how much effort he exerted trying to make his film look effortless. He's clearly working overtime with his consummate pro stars to generate a timeless sense of style. Julia Roberts drops by for an extended cameo, and yet still gets more to do than 1960s leading lady co-star Angie Dickinson. or any of the other minor female characters.
Use that.
There's a strange masochistic devotion and mutual antagonism going on here, even amongst the women.
I just think you'd be interested to learn your husband. When I learned Danny has an enemy as venomous as you, it just makes me love him a little more.
And the Rat Pack's take on, in their own lingo, dames, might be tongue-in-cheek, but it sure still sticks in the throat.
I'm the one that's going into politics.
What's going to be your platform, Big Sam?
Repeal the 14th and the 20th Amendment, take the vote away from the women, and make slaves out of them.
Of course, judging past eras on present morality can be a slippery slope, but the remake's decision to keep its team all male offers telling contrasts in masculinity and exclusive boys' club membership, 40 years apart.
Any of you liars want to claim that you're half the man you were in 45?
The 1960s version emphasizes the group's World War II veteran status. The heist is a chance to reclaim some past glory. Part of Sinatra's crew's appeal is an underlying toughness
Old times are only good when you've had them.
beneath the laid-back surface. But there's also genuine, earned affection.
You know something? I think the only reason why I got into this cape was so I could see you again.
Mid-20th century machismo as hard-won, never-surrendered spoils.
We could always tomorrow.
Soderbergh and Griffin deliberately defanged their new millennium male. There's almost zero physical violence perpetrated by Clooney's gang. Inter-crew friction is good-natured ribbing at best.
She went through at 10:44.
10:46. Get a watch that works.
And though they get a beautiful climactic scene silently celebrating a job well done, there's no real brotherhood or cause here. It's all easy come, easy go. For such a good-looking crew, the film is curiously unsexy.
Hello, Tess.
If Danny and Tess's relationship sparring has a crackle and a spark, it's verbal, not carnal.
I don't have a husband, or didn't you get the papers?
My last day inside.
I told you I'd write.
Classic screwball comedy used language as foreplay, but the only thing getting screwed here is Andy Garcia's vault. This is, I guess, the overall issue with both films. They're meant, though one with far more skill and application, to be pure entertainment. Audiences invited to share the sense of fun that everyone had making them. Taking either Ocean's movie too seriously goes against their very ethos. Soderbergh's regular composer David Holmes conjures up a retro-flavoured soundtrack that draws on showbiz traditions. These are reassuring remix projects then. Super hip, but super comfortable. Just sit back and lap up the self-aware cameos, like honorary Rat Pack member Shirley MacLaine.
Oh, well, now, who do I have to be to wish you a Happy New Year?
Ricky Nelson.
Or Soderbergh including two surviving 1960s Ocean's alumni in his film.
Unless, when that perfect hand comes along, you bet big, and then you take the house.
The self-conscious style that knows you know you're watching Brad and George and Rusty and
Been
Danny.
practicing your speech a little bit. Did I rush it? Felt like I rushed. No, it's good. I liked it. Hard to do, isn't it? It's an over. Television film.
Or the brilliant throwaway line of former ER star Clooney's when crashing Pitt's real-life TV actor poker school. In these cases, though, perhaps the joke is also on them. Watching MacLaine joke about Ricky Nelson recalls Martin's heartfelt screen work the year before alongside Nelson and John Wayne in Rio Bravo. Or his and Sinatra's other 1950s career high with MacLaine in Vicente Minnelli's Some Came Running.
It's a good thing for you she doesn't pack a knife.
How do you know she doesn't?
Likewise, any Clooney-Soderbergh charming rogue crime pick only recalls their earlier joint masterpiece, Out of Sight, which embraces more adult stakes altogether.
How'd it come off?
Like a charm.
Both Ocean's films were huge hits, each leading to group follow-ups and sequels of varying quality.
Is it genetic? Are the whole family like this?
Literally.
What are we stealing?
Though Ocean's 12 is a fascinating meta-deconstruction of its stars and even itself.
Now you told me that he called it Ocean 11. Now who decided that?
That's a good point.
Not every film need be a major artistic gamble. Sometimes you just want deluxe razzle-dazzle showmanship and unfiltered star power. But focused in a movie, not a sideshow.
Liar.
That way, when the house takes it all, nobody feels that they were just there to make up the numbers.